Hello and welcome everyone to the OVRC. Welcome back to a Season 5 of the OVRC ACC GT3 Series. I am joined once again by Owen.
Hello everyone.
And he's joining us at the start of a brand new season starting at Kyalami. Kyalami? How do you pronounce it?
I'm not sure either, to be honest. Kyalami?
Kyalami, that sounds a bit more accurate. Yeah, Kyalami. Circuit in South Africa. The circuit is a 2.85 miles or 4.58 kilometer long circuit, and been quite popular over the last few years since International GT World Challenge started to go here. As the drivers will start to finish their final practice laps as we will head into qualifying. The format for this season is essentially identical to last season in terms of race length, rules, and all that stuff. So there's not much really to change or discuss there. Same format, worked quite well last season. Let's see if we get something going on this season as we head into qualifying. Who will be the first one to exit the pit lane? It'll be Mark Whitford, it looks like, in one of the Ferraris. Biggest change I will say this season is the car selection. It's quite different. It seems this season everyone's gone for the mid-engined cars. Quite a lot of Ferraris, a few Lamborghinis, a few Audis. So it's
we always get these weird changes in car trends between seasons.
And what I've never really understood is that it's never seemed like a coordinated thing between people. It's just everyone suddenly realizes halfway through, before the build-up, it's like, oh, everyone's in the similar car. So it's not like, you know, oh, that's everyone going in this car. No, it just happens most of the time. You've got the WD Motorsport guys are in a pair of Ferraris. One of the PCDC guys is in a Ferrari squad. Anderson's in a Ferrari, and I believe there's a few more of them which are not showing up for this particular race. Going to see how everything plays out. Obviously, BOP will be changing per track as it does in ACC. It is not universal, as Mark Whitford will head into the final two corners, or the final three corners of the Crocodiles, and then into Peter. And into the final corner now, as he will start his first flying lap. He gets as we all right on board with him.
Yep.
So, start finish line, very long start finish, straight little kink here, doesn't really affect the car too much, it's also take the inside. Very wide now into turn one, hard on the brakes. There's quite a few lines you take, especially in a race condition. You then hard on the brakes to get the car around. It's immediately back to the other side as you up this uphill, right, left. To another sort of 90-degree corner barbecue. Then you get a small little sprint on the straight into the long right-hander of Sunset. Then it goes uphill to the twisty section. So another little straight. There's not really good overtaking opportunity right now as you go into this downhill, very tricky corner. Car's very easy to get unsettled. Very hard to really make anything happen. Then you head into the hairpin. And if you're very close to someone, as Mark goes a bit deep into there, hits the ABS a bit, but rolls out wide. And then you go start the descent down the hill. Barely lifts off there at all. And hard on the brakes. To the Crocodile. Get another wide corner, rolls it out wide onto the curb. Tap the brakes there to get through the kink, and then hard the brakes to the final corner. And that is a lap of Kyalami. And let's see what time Mark will set, if it is a valid time that is. A 1:42.4.
More times coming in. Masic Haile taking P1 for now. Marcus Lawrence in P2. On Dalton about to cross the line, and he will go P6. No lap for him. Olsen just went into P3.
Anderson jumps up into P4. Cars across the line now to start the first flying laps.
On Pottage about to cross the line, he goes into P4. Tyler up next. Goes into P4. Taking over Tom Pottage's spot there.
Next person on the time to that will be Castro, in one of the few McLarens. Yeah. But the gap so far to P1 at 0.9. Does seem like Hyler is continuing form from practice, where he seems to be the quickest at the back right now. Across the far line, let's go Castro, and he moves to P12. Whitfield will start. We'll finish his second lap now, so let's see if he just managed to improve quickly all the way down in P11. Not exactly where he wants to be. Across the line, moves it to P6. With Lawrence behind him, who closed the gap to 6 tenths. Then Grant Smith going home to finish his first lap.
Olsen running into a bunch of traffic as he gets around the final corner. Olsen goes into P2. Grant Smith just went into P4.
Gets moved down by Anderson. He then slips into P4, so 6 tenths, 7 tenths off, so there's still a bunch of time for him to close the gap further as a few more people start to cross the line. As Tom Pottage moves to P2. Duff Mill will come now to finish his first timed lap in the Mercedes. He moves it to P8, so 1 second off so far.
Damon Wareham to the end of his lap. He's in the Jaguar. That is certainly a choice.
I'm not really sure how competitive that car is. Honestly, it does improve a bit, but not by a lot. 4.5 seconds off the current leading pace. P19. Marcus Lawrence dives into the pit lane, so he aborts his lap. Sebastian Brun, the next car, who's on a timed lap, currently 3 tenths down, so it doesn't look to be an improvement. Back in his trusty stealth McLaren, he seems to have adopted the stealth car. As Broly gets a bit of a tap there by one of the Porsches of Markov as he's going towards his lap. Finish it.
What happened there with BMW?
Markov went too deep in the corner, so following his normal line, and probably was not expecting the BMW, who probably braked a bit early. Unfortunately, the camera angle I was using was facing to the front.
Yeah, looking at the replay of it now. Yep, and he gets touched in the back by the Porsche. Not sure whose fault that was, but it certainly happened.
Yeah, I think sometimes some drivers need to be careful, especially around some of the weaker drivers in the series. Not everyone is always at the same pace. Hyler is currently on a possible slight improvement right now as they're through the final corner. Still got quite an advantage to everyone else in the field. Cross the line and don't improve, which is probably a relief for everyone else. Quite a few people on outlaps right now, so a few people probably return to the pits and are restarting their runs.
on board with Odila. Currently in P7 on a slight improvement.
Ooh, Falkenstein goes quite hard into the wall through the kink. It's a bit off the track and bought that lap up quite obviously, but quite
So what happened to Falkenstein there?
Will go a bit wide there, lose traction, the castle spam out into the other wall on the other side of the track.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big one. Highlights just improved. Then in P6, I think he was in P6. Or I went into that replay of Falkenstein. And now we're looking at Jordan Grant-Smith.
Grant-Smith is only on a slight improvement right now. He's got a bit of traffic overhead.
Couple tenths up.
Hopefully traffic does not get into the way as we through the final corner right now. If anything, it might provide a bit of a slipstream heading down to the start finish. You'll see that. He is 3 tenths up, which should put him a bit further up the order. He puts him D3.
Heila's quite far ahead of everyone else so far though. Nearly 6 tenths ahead on Pottage in P2. We have Wareham again. Coming on the final corner. And 9 tenths up so far.
Bonds jumps up.
Still not going to be much. Yeah, Marcus Lawrence just jumped up into P2.
Ooh, Benjamin Kerbal, another moment in the second to final corner there. So that's both of those Lamborghinis. Struggling a bit with, ooh, and then Markov hits the inside curb and goes off. So people possibly pushing a tiny bit in the last sector, trying to gain some bit of time and costing them their car. Luckily, they can repair it very easily in the sim compared to obviously what Lamar was last week, and yeah, you quickly learn how quickly things can turn around there. Whitford going next, but he is a second down on its best time, so it doesn't look to be exactly a quick lap.
Yeah, Grant Smith again.
3 tenths up once again, so getting that gap down as far as he can. Lance is also improving as well as Grant Smith jumps to P2.
Getting closer to Hyla. On Pottage. Also just improving into P2.
Lance is going an improvement. Heads through the kink and towards the final corner now. So let's see what he can do. 3 tenths up right now, which should put him within the margin of the top 3 cars right now. He'll jump and he'll move to invalidated lap.
That's unfortunate for him.
He's like lost a lot of time.
Oh, Grant Smith. And just as we cut to him, he's off. Have a little look at that, just going down the main straight. To turn 1 and loses the rear end there, goes onto the grass. He's going back out, but I'm not sure he has time for an outlap.
He's just about to squeeze it in if he's leaving now. So everyone's basically going to be out on track now if they want to do another lap. Tom Pottage is currently one of the top cars which is not out on track, so may have said enough is enough and can't improve his time, currently sitting P2.
So Lawrence is still out there, but not improving so far. Sebastian Brunier is 3 tenths up, but he's currently down in P13 still. Could gain a few positions here. See where he goes when he crosses the line now, and he moves up into P10.
Jumps John Dalton, which is the car ahead of him on track right now. So
Lawrence couple tenths up as he crosses the line. And he stays in P4.
At some point, High has improved his time because the gap is opened up to 4 tenths. Still not really showing signs that he's slowing down. Few cars still improving right now. More people got a chance to finish their laps and set a new one if they're in the last sort of sector or so. Let's see what will happen now. There's 15 seconds left before the checkered flag will be out.
Kyla is still out there on a small improvement right now, but he doesn't seem to have any competition.
Everyone in the top 3, P3 to P5 is currently all in the pits, unless Anderson can pull a blinder. Looks to be fairly safe right now.
With Nygaard on a small improvement, currently down in P14. But he's not improving enough to gain any positions. I don't think. Dalton's still out, but not improving. Kyla about to cross the line. That posts a small improvement there, I think.
Yep. 0.03 improvement.
Michael Castro about to cross the line. Tenths up, but does not gain a position.
About 3 more cars to come through, or 2 more as one car has invalidated the lap, the number 50. I believe that's Timothy Glennon's Honda.
Just Nygaard and Falkenstein still out there. We're looking at Falkenstein at the moment as he goes around the final corner. Anderson is still out as well.
Up, but he's got a bit of a gap to close to Olsen ahead. Across the line now, and that is qualifying. So Hyler takes pole. Tom Potter's P2. Grant Smith and Lawrence on this row behind those. So as we prepare for the race, and yeah, should be interesting to see how high they can go. Obviously, Audi's a bit trickier car to drive than some of the cars behind him. Let's see if he can keep it on the road pointing forwards.
Fortunately, the game is once again not letting me go to the garage, so I can't show you the more in-depth timetable for qualifying. You just have to do with these positions.
I'll quickly run through the grid while we have a chance. So row 1 is Hyler and Pottage. Row 2 will be Grant Smith and Marcus Lawrence. Row 3 will be Olsen and Anderson. Row 4, Olia and Stoffmill. Row 5, Whitford Brunier. Row 6, Dalton and Markov. Row 7, Carlisle Nygaard. Row 8, Glenning and Falkenstein. Row 9, Castro Kerbal. Row 10, Wareham. The Jaguar and the that is the grid. So 19 cars will start, and hopefully 19 cars will come home across the line, as we have about 1 minute and 20 until green flag will start and the cars will begin rolling on their outlap. Hyler definitely seems to be the safe bet if you're a betting person. Currently they have a sizable pace advantage, but obviously pit stop there, 1 tyre change is mandatory. That's all 4 tyres on all 4 corners of the car. You can't just do one side. We don't allow that. I don't think SRA even allow that in the real series and outside of emergencies. But there you go. The cars will soon be jumping off the jacks. We'll be ready to go. Do you have any sort of predictions, Erwin, before we head underway? Or are you going to go with the safe pick?
Well, it's we've been away for a while, so it's difficult to tell exactly how people are going to be doing in the race. Of course, Highland 4 tenths ahead of everyone in qualifying, so gotta say he should be able to do it, as there's a very loud motorcycle going off outside.
Perfect.
So I'm probably going to use my mic right now. Sorry, everyone.
You're down the grid right now. Look, it's not
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure this is what GT3 cars sound like, but...
I don't know why he's on the grid. They're leaving now, so Harley gets underway now to start the formation lap. As you can see, the motorbike is still there. So, I sort of got a big gap behind, so everyone seems to be a bit low on the formation lap. I don't know exactly why everyone's a bit slow.
The motorbike is gone, so I'm back.
Yeah, I'm just a bit confused why everyone sort of pilots sort of just drove off and then.
Yeah, that's very strange.
I mean, it should be using the standard ACC rolling start procedure, so I'm not sure how exactly that works right now, because normally it should be sort of, I don't know. We'll see. It does seem that all cars have managed to get rolling. They're down towards sunset. Yeah, it should be interesting to see. Obviously, you've got a few fast people, surprising Stoffmill and Whitford fairly down the order. P8 and P9 for those two. So let's see if they can do anything. Obviously, quite a few fast drivers ahead of them, though. So they've got Anderson, Olsen, Lawrence, Grant Smith, and Pottage. So be interesting to see how they all do. A decent mix of cars at the front. We've got 2 Audis, 3 Ferraris, 2 Porsches, a Lexus and a Mercedes, and technically Sebastian's in the top 2 in the McLaren. So be definitely interesting to see as they sort of head up towards the hairpin right now. I believe somewhere soon they will start to go 2 by 2. Start the formation. Well, not the formation. They're already on the formation. Start the grid procedure. So there we go. We can start going 2 by 2 now. So obviously, pole sitter on the inside for turn 1. Everyone out. That's how it is. As one of the cars goes spearing off.
That's Wareham.
Yeah, I don't know what he's quite
The
doing.
Jag.
I think going a bit fast down into everyone gridding up. He's obviously at the back on his zone right now. So everyone is formed up now. We're about to start 1 hour of racing here at Kyalami. Kyalami. I will keep saying it differently every time, and it'll always be wrong. So, through the final corner they all go as they go 2 by 2, 2 by 2, say 2 by 2 again. Quite a bit of a long run down to the lights here, but quite a long run down into turn 1. As we are about to go racing as they cross the timing line now, and we are go. Let's see how everyone gets off. Pottage gets a decent start there. Higher managed to keep us going. Pottage might be a bit under threat now from Grant Smith as everyone heads through turn 1. So far, so good. So everyone has managed to make their way through as Markov makes a move and Sebastian Bruni a bit behind. Under threat right now is Tom Pottage as he's got Grant Smith around the outside and Lawrence right tucked in behind him. So it's a bit close there between Grant Smith and Lawrence. Stoffmel's defending against Whitford, who's trying to go the long way around, but have to settle in behind now through this sort of this S's section. Move it. Ooh, Ilo's going around the outside with run the hairpin, but has to back out for now. As Ilo's already got a second gap already to Tom Pottage, so he's definitely bolted straight off as Stoffmel's under attack once again by Whitford, forcing him along the long way around. We'll hold on for P7 for a bit longer now, as Glenningen seems to be the one car lost out at the start. He's dropped all the way back to the back of the grid. So, not sure what happens there, as so far everyone seems to have made it around the first lap, mostly unscathed.
Bit of a gap between Anderson and Stoffmel.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds, so I'm not sure. He's probably not being helped by Whitford's fairly early moves in the first few corners. But yeah, it doesn't seem to have quite the pace to catch up. Let's see, obviously, how it pans out. You can get that Mercedes going. I don't know how strong Mercedes is in the past, but the Aston's been fairly strong around here. The top driver's hands.
Bit wide there for Whitford.
There's another set of people lost down that first lap, have been Markov and Dalton. They're down in P13 and 14 right now, as Dalton gets ahead of Markov before the S section. He moves himself up to P13. So a few people seem to have lost out. They're still pointing forwards. I want to know what really happened there. Probably gone a bit wide a few of the laps while racing other cars. The gap to Stoffmel and Anderson is growing to 1.8 seconds. But Whitford's also under attack by Earl in the Lexus, so maybe a bit of a break for Stoffmel there. As Whitford goes off into the gravel, stays out, as his teammate also goes off into the gravel, scoots past him. That's both the WD Motorsport
See exactly
cars.
what happened there. We're going for a replay of Whitford. Skips over the curb there. I'm not sure if he got a tap from the Lexus behind.
Now, so that's not a good start for WD guys, who they'd always struggle at the start of the season. Unfortunately, they seem to have these races, as Dalton's got a bit of side damage on his car, so not sure if he had a bit of contact which assisted him going off the second to last corner. We've got a bit of side damage there. I don't know how much it's going to affect his performance. He's trying to make a move onto Timothy Glenningen. Does so. So he moves his way up the order a bit. But he's on a bit of a comeback charge now as well.
Already 2.1 seconds ahead of Tom Pottage.
Stoffmel still struggling because Elias closed the gap immediately up onto Stoffmel, as Whitford and Wareham have had a contact.
Oh,
Whitford has
standing still there.
Whitford's going back to the pit lane, assuming to retire. As
see what happened there. Oh, Wareham went off into the grass and then spun into Whitford.
also the replay back on the broadcast in a second. But that is our first retirement of the race. This goes very wide indeed, and nothing really Whips could be done there. The looks of things, hard impact into the wall. That's probably his race is over. Speaking of race being over, Stoffel goes very wide there, catches the grass at the inside of Sunset, and does concede the position to Elida. So definitely struggling a tiny bit in that Mercedes. As he's got a bit of a train forming up behind him. Sebastian Brunier is the next car behind him. Sebastian's looking to make a move, possibly into the hairpin. You have to lay on the brakes though. Ooh, very close there right now. So down the hill they go. Elias already putting a bit of a gap already. Let's see if we can close the gap to Anderson up ahead, who's in the sort of next pack of cars. As Nygaard's there making a move on Sebastian. Holds out against it, but he's still going. Now decides to drop out as they head into the little pink section. As another car is off at the kink section, that's Markov's in the pit lane. Doesn't look like he's got major damage in the car, but maybe he's decided that he's going to repair anything he does have. He's possibly been a bit of an incident with Dalton, who's currently down P14 as he's making his way back through the order. Once again, WD get their unfortunately very standard start to a season. They just don't seem to be able to get the good races at the start. So Elida's closed a second already onto Anderson.
Cottage and Grant Smith are side by side. Quite sure who was making the move on who there, but getting very close between these two. Cottage seems to have lost some time this lap.
He's lost and the gap to the leader has extended to 3.6 seconds. So Hyler definitely seems to be good around here, handy around there in that Audi around the circuit. So Marcos made his stop. He is counted as a tyre change, and he's going to pull out alongside the leading pack as they come through, but he does let the leader go. Well, the best idea, don't we? As Dalton has got a yellow flag again, and he's now behind Carlisle. Definitely struggling a bit in that Ferrari right now. I don't know what car they were in last season. Was it the Lexus or the McLaren? As Olsen looking to make a move on to Lawrence. Quite there to make it, but he's definitely threatening. It's somewhat little packs of cars are forming at this stage of the race. Track's not the easiest to follow, I would imagine. As there's another car off, that is Nygaard off on the gravel trap. He's back on the road once again. What am I perceiving?
What happened to Nygaard?
I think he's
lost. Yep, we just lost the rear to the corner and then into the barrier.
He'll probably come into repairs very shortly. I'm not just about one of the Lamborghinis skipped across the grass on the when Nygaard rejoined the track. So I'm not entirely sure what happened. I don't know if that's a bit of latency or what was going on there. Quite a sort of sizable impact with the tyre barrier there by Nygaard. Yeah, one of the Lamborghinis does go off the road trying to get past Nygaard then. Not entirely sure if that's necessary, honestly. While all was happening, Grant Smith has got ahead of Tom Pottage. And starts to build a little gap to him as well. So let's see if Grant Smith closes the gap down to Hyler. I believe he's recently won some like esports thing or something like that. Grant Smith, so he's not slow.
Well, Sebastian Brunier is trying to close the gap to Mike Stoffmill in the fight for P8. So still got a fight for P5 between Olsen and Anderson. There's already blue flags being waved.
Dalton and Nygaard on each other into the hairpin right now. I think Carlisle was off the road for a brief second there. They're going side by side down the hill now, so Ferrari versus Nissan. Nygaard will be just ahead for now as Dalton risks going a bit off wide there, but will hold his line. They get very close. Oh, a bit of a touch there between the two cars. Still together as another car as Mike Stoffmill's pulled off into the pit lane.
Disconnected. He's left.
He's gone. What was that? What was that? Used. Was he struggling or something? Maybe he's got an issue?
I'm not sure, it's just suddenly gone.
That moved everyone up a position. Well, everyone behind Sebastian essentially moved up a position. So we've lost 2 cars this race already. Anderson, Olsen, and Lawrence are so close together right now. So Lawrence is another car which just seems to be lacking a bit of the pace. Tom Pottage has dropped behind Grant Smith, and Grant Smith is still dropping to Hyler, so definitely Hyler does seem to be fairly untouchable right now in terms of pace. Can he keep it going for the next 46 minutes? The Markov's currently just ahead of the fight for P4. We will be trying to get out of the way very shortly as he does let all 3 go. Wow, down. Like, I think he must have got me involved in an incident with Dalton, judging by they're too close to each other. He obviously repaired his damage and on the way Dalton is trying to salvage something. Being immersed right now by Owen's microphone.
I don't think it picked it up on stream, but yeah, there were some more engine sounds in the background. I think the way I have the noise gauge set up, it's a bit lower on TeamSpeak than it is in OBS.
I was getting immersed, you know. I feel like you're really there, really at the track. Anderson's lost a bit of ground to Lawrence and Olsen. Got to a second. So definitely he sort of managed to hang with them for most of the lap and then sort of dropped off a bit. So yeah, I think these guys don't really, you need a bit of an overlap to really make a move.
Just reporting in the YouTube chat saying he had some performance issues and it wasn't drivable in VR. So that's why he's quit. Let's see. Saw that Robert Nygaard is heading into the pits.
He's got a bit of damage, so he might be going into repairs. Quite possibly. Quite far away down the pit lane to go as he brings his car to a stop. He'll be the second car to do a... Oh. Crash that.
And he's gone.
Nice. So, I mean, a few people... I mean, the best races so far for Thursdays. And it's kind of shame because that one was fairly okay. It just seems to a few small incidents here and there and little issues seem to be taking people out of this race so far.
Yeah.
And Potties is close to gap now to Grant Smith a bit, so Grant Smith must be a slow lap last time around, or this time around.
Also still pretty close to Lawrence as well. Here's Jordan Grant Smith. Ahead of Tom Pottage, but the lap times were... Tom Pottage was 6 tenths faster the previous lap.
It seems that people are so getting to past the best of the tyres right now, as the drivers somewhat not really making the gains and progress you expect them to. The only people making serious progress is Hyler right now. Gap 7.5 seconds to Grant Smith right now.
Yep, as you can see, he is all on his own.
All by myself. Yeah.
Grant Smith seems to be extending the gap slightly to Tom Pottage.
Okay, so trying to drag it up a bit. We're sort of entering the standard pit window about now, so you might see some people start to try and do some pit stops. And it's really what people feel the tyres.
Also having a look down the inside of Lawrence, but not really close enough there to try and do anything on the brakes. Getting ever closer though. You can see on board, still got Anderson to worry about in his rearview mirror as well.
Yeah, I think these two got to be a bit careful about what they do, because if they fight too much, Anderson will be right there and be. And so maybe still trying to find some little opportunities right now, because definitely seems that Lawrence is struggling the most, given how everyone's sort of packing up behind him. Anderson will trying to get, make a double move, get ahead of both of them, get a bit of pace, get away, run away a bit. You don't know. Glenn is close to the back of Carl, then a bit further down the order, so a bit on his way back up the field. Dalton stopped really gaining on Kerbal and Falkenstein ahead, so Dalton possibly, again, he's got a bit of damage on that car, so maybe restricting a bit of his speed, but overall it's not exactly closing as fast as I would expect. So lap 12 as Olsen looks for a move down in turn 1, but not really quite close enough to really make anything happen. A bit wide there into the grass, so we lost a bit of time there. Well, Kerbal and Falkenstein are close to gap to each other, so they seem to be teammates. I'm judging by their teammates by their car liveries, if anything. Identical matching Lamborghinis. Then there will be a clearer sign that they're the same team. Well, been hovering with each other for the whole race kind of thing, not really much separated those two. We're just plodding around, getting some laps in. Castro is 7 seconds behind Sebastian, who is 7 seconds behind Erlina. Yeah, with Stoffmill not being in the race anymore, suddenly Sebastian's a bit on his own right now, and so probably trying to pace himself around. As the gap between Potter's and Grant Smith's opened up over a second once again, so.
Well, at least we can still enjoy the freeway fight for P4. Of course, we've got the pit stops to look forward to. They should be happening fairly soon as we get close to the halfway mark.
Yeah, 7 minutes to go until that sort of halfway point. As slow exit by Olsen's allowed Anderson to have a look around the outside of Sunset. He's holding very close, with a bit of rubbing there between the doors. Both cars still point forward afterwards. Bit of aggressive move down there by Anderson. Let get ahead of Thomas Olsen.
Sure, Lawrence will be happy about this though. Because he has quite a gap now.
These two sort of argy-bargy. Both cars are pointing forward still. I don't know how much damage they've even received, or if any. They seem to be going, but just how much more pace does Anderson have compared to Olsen? We're going to close that gap now to Lawrence. Get to Potters and Grant Smith's also closed back down again. Olsen gets a bit snappy down the exit. That old tangle Anderson and Olsen has lost him 2.32 seconds roughly to Lawrence, so yeah, it's quite interesting how much of a fight just loses time when you're fighting each other.
Pottage closing back up to Grant Smith again.
It's right behind him. As Wareham's into the pit lane now, so it'll be the second stop of the race, quite possibly. Has Hyler spun it? Hyler's lost it. He's lost it at some point because he's now down into P3 and got Lawrence right behind him now. As
see if we can catch on the replay what happened. Still seems to be far ahead at this point.
As they both dove into the pit lane.
No,
so.
he's slowing down on the straight. We did not catch any kind of spin, but he's slowing. Yeah, he seems to have dived into the pit lane right now, as has Marcus Lawrence.
That is weird. Down the pit lane right now, observing a stop.
Yeah.
As
And he's gone.
He went out of fuel or something? Because he stopped behind Lawrence when his pit box was ahead of Lawrence.
No, I think he may have just had a technical issue or something. Because he just suddenly slowed down. Straight, or was he running like qualifying fuel or something? Maybe he forgot to change it? I don't know.
Why do you have like nearly 30 minutes of
Maybe-
qualifying fuel?
Maybe we'll get to know later if he posts anything. Discord chat. YouTube chat.
This has been the most weird set of retirements in quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a very weird race.
I think it's been one retirement so far, which is very clearly, you know, okay, fair enough, you've been bashed into a wall quite hard. I mean, I guess the Nygaard's one was, I mean, he pitted eventually, and I guess just damage. Duff Mills
Dalton drives out of the pit lane now, so he's just made his stop.
So he's one of the few people that's made a stop and keeps going. I shouldn't need to say that. That's just bizarre. How that, you know, you have that many sort of people having issues of some description. You've got a few more people into the pit. Anderson's into the pit lane now, and Alaya. Means Olsen is out on his own now. The effective leaders right now are Grant Cliff and Tom Pottage, effectively. After all that happened, so
More people jumping into the pits. Castro, Falkenstein, Kerbel.
yeah, so seems to be the moment now is to pit. So again, sort of around the halfway point. Anderson gets on his way again. Makes sense. He was ahead of all these guys at pits. It's the Lion and the next car. Alila has lost a bit of time to Anderson. I think about 2 seconds, and that's bigger than 2 second gap as they leave. But Anderson's jumped Lawrence in the pit stops. More importantly.
Yeah, that's interesting, although he's got Lawrence right behind him.
This is always Olsen pit, and will Olsen stay ahead or not? Or drop behind? I mean, he was behind Anderson before Anderson pulled in.
Pottage just into the pit lane. Go back to the battle between Anderson and Lawrence, though.
Lawrence going around the long way. He's going to be a bit off onto the grass there. It's not really any way he can go, unfortunately, out there.
Side by side, down the straight.
Down the hill they go. Very close out. One's gonna. Oh, yellow flag. As Carlisle's done it in the next few corners ahead of these two. So gonna be a bit careful right now as Lawrence is ahead. As the Aston's off the track. So out of the way and see that Lawrence has managed to get ahead. Obviously.
Carlisle jumps into the pits. Glantening is in the pits as well.
Where's Tom Pottage? Tom Pottage is just out of the pit lane now. He's ahead.
That is Lawrence.
But not by much. The gap has definitely increased. So slow stop there possibly for Pottage. Or very quick outlap by the Ferrari of Lawrence. So Glenning gets underway now. So only the top three have yet to pit.
Grant Smith just coming into the pits.
As Olsen stays out, so Maybe Olsen's thinking he get as much time in clean air as possible. And he can extend his gap. Sebastian Bruno is also now entering the pit lane now as well.
We're on board with Marcus Lawrence, chasing down Tom Bottage. Olsen still staying out.
So we have a report from Tyler about his retirement. Ran out of fuel.
Oops.
This is... Oops. That's the response you give. Oops.
Yeah.
You know, this last one was Aston Martin's. Oops.
Grant Smith is heading back out of the pits.
Grant Smith got quite a lead now. So, return to normal, I guess.
Yeah, he managed to get quite far ahead in those pit stops. Interesting.
It was a bit weird once he stopped ahead of Lawrence. He didn't actually pull into his pit box, which suggests he was trying to coast and then obviously turn the car off. Or
Castro and Falkenstein are fighting. Also got Dalton right behind them.
Dalton now finding a fresh set of tyres with repairs, so he might be able to try and recover a bit more of this race if he can. Castro looks to the outside, but obviously will be a long way around the next corner, and we'll have to slot him behind.
Olsen is into the pits finally.
He pulls out.
Oh! Castro spun around.
As Dalton's there, it's the blind corner. As Ulrich comes gliding in right now, he gets stamps on the brakes and gets around. Dalton just can't catch a break, can he? I'm not sure what happened there, if anyone touched each other there, but
Yeah, it's a touch between Dalton and Castro. Dalton going down the inside. Castro turning in. I'm not sure if that was him not leaving enough room on the inside for Dalton, or Dalton's turn in was wrong there. But either way, they touched and they both. Castro spun around and Dalton had to jump on the brakes.
Olsen's lost a lot of ground in this pit stop. He's currently behind both the Ferraris and got Elida right behind him, so not the quickest. Will also manage to close the 4-second gap now. He's lost to Anderson. And will Tom Bush manage to close the gap down to Grant Smith, who is quite far ahead now, 5.8 seconds. Guys, all over the back of Olsen's Audi. That's just the back mark getting out of the way, so Wham gets out of the way of effectively the fight for P2. It does seem that Grant Smith is stretching his legs a bit now. He's extending that gap to Pottage.
Yep, you can see here he's got quite a large gap. You can just barely see Pottage coming around the corner in the background. That would have been a tiny speck in John Smith's rear view mirror.
Pottage also extending the gap to Lawrence and Anderson, so they're all settled into their places once again. Up from Olsen and Lyra, which is seems like it's probably be a fight to the end at this rate. One's not quite quick enough than the other to really make a move right now. Really worried about who makes a mistake first. Not probably the outcome. As another car. Oh no, don't do that. As Kerbals spun around. At turn 1, he's back underway again.
Let's see what happened to him.
Well done. I think it was around anyone.
No, he just seemed to have gone a bit too far onto the curb there. And then almost ran into Glendening. Reversing. Yeah. Reversing, trying to get back to onto the track. And Glendening having to take avoiding action.
So Elila's a tiny bit off Alton. Not by much, but he's not as close as he was. Anderson sort of much in the same boat with Lawrence. The gap's leader extended to 7.3 seconds, so
Yep, you can see Grant Smith far ahead of everyone else. Anderson still trying to chase down Lawrence. Was faster than Lawrence on the previous lap by a few tenths.
18, just under 19 minutes left. So Anderson sort of closed the Christopher gap up to Lawrence. Not really enough to do anything with it. To sort of hang in there, really. Gaps opened up once again. That last few laps, so some people are going to start struggling once again with the tyres. The track is 35 degrees. I think it might explain some people's tyre struggles with mid-race pace.
Lina has been falling off the back of Olsen. Brown Smith still driving away from everyone else. The 8.4 seconds ahead of Tom Pottage P2.
It doesn't seem like anyone's really there to challenge Grant Smith at this stage.
I think this is Jordan's race to lose at this point.
We've seen what happens, so sometimes people are not quite got the strategy quite correct. Or just missed a warning on the dash or something like that, because, well, it's still racing. It's not over until the checkered flag's there. Earlier, Olsen's gap is opening up a bit further again, so I feel like Alaya doesn't really have the pace to keep going with Olsen. Still a chance. Make a move. Still got 15 minutes.
Yep, still a chance for things to happen. Especially as the tires potentially get worn out more. Could create some differences in pace again.
Elias close to get back a bit further back down to Olsen again. So with 12 minutes to go, the current stop order is Grant Smith is currently leading by 8.8 seconds. Marcus Lawrence currently P3, followed by Anderson, Olsen, Elida, Sebastian, Brunier, Falkenstein, Dalton, Glennion, Castro, Kerbal, Markov, Carr, and Wareham. Currently 15 cars running out of 19 starters. So we have lost Hyler, we have lost Doffmill, we've lost Whitford, we have lost Nygaard. We've got a few overall people which have dropped out. We're on lap 28. 28 laps, and at this point, I believe Grant Smith still hasn't actually led the most laps yet, because it was good to know. I believe everyone, because of that, is actually on the lead lap still, apart from Wareham, who's the only car which is a lap down.
And Hyla is gaining on Olsen again.
Yeah, it seems to have gained a bit more pace once again. Yeah, so the gap between currently Olsen and Ida sort of goes in and out, flows a bit depending on sort of what lap it is. So I don't think it's really going to be a case of. It's going to be down to who makes a mistake first. And it's kind of the case along the whole field at this stage of the race. I don't think really anyone's got quite the pace to really make it. Everyone's sort of in the position they should be. Or if they're not in the place to be so far behind that there's not really anything they can do.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
And you think Dalton's the only real car I can see it's out, and Markov are the two cars that are really out of place, and Dalton's carrying damage after having a few incidents in the second stint, and Markov was pitted on the first few laps, so he's been out of the race for quite a while. He had made his way, he got past Carlisle, and he's making a bit of ground into Kerbal, but he's not ultimately making enough ground to really make anything happen in the next 10 minutes, I don't think.
Yeah, he does seem to be catching up to Loco, but yeah, not fast enough to try anything. Try and get past, unless of course Falkenstein makes a mistake.
Yeah, so the most loneliest race so far has to be Sebastian for the last few laps, as Silver's on his own. He's got a 20-second gap behind him and a 17-second gap ahead of him. Silver's been doing the laps, so he seems to have decent pace in qualifying. He got, got on the top 10 in qualifying, but just couldn't really get the pace going in the race. I think people around him saw a bit more race pace. And it sort of benefited a lot from the Stoffmill train very early on.
Yeah. And yeah, looks like the number 777 is going to finish in P7 appropriately.
Interesting fact, there are 3 cars which have triple digit numbers, which are all like, so you got 66, 777, 888.
Anderson. Oh no, never mind. Oh, he did seem to have made a mistake. He's lost some time.
Yeah, no, he's dropped behind. He's dropped behind
If he can still catch it. I saw a thing that said he was going into the pits. So presumably he spun somewhere on the pit exit. And yep, there he goes. Off into the grass and then into the barrier. And into the pit entry. So that's why the timing thought he was going into the pits.
So, and what did I say earlier? It's not over until the checker flag's out. Because, you know, it was a comfortable P4, and now it's suddenly a P6. And he's got front damage, so he's got 7 minutes to try and catch a gel either, which would be a challenge and a half because they weren't really pulling away. You know, maybe he's got a bit more pace in that car. Yeah, another car caught out by that sort of last section of the track. It was a bit of thinking, oh, it's been having a good race until that point, you know, just keeping the car where it should, pointing it the right way, and then a little mistake like that. It's how costly little mistakes can be, though, at times.
Lila is dropping off the back of Olsen again. Catching up didn't seem to have lasted very long. Tom Smith over 10 seconds ahead of Tom Pottish at this point.
Previously, Lawrence can now try and close the gap at Pottage, given that he's got no real pressure from behind anymore. Given the fact that Olsen is 5.8 seconds back, and I think the gap is slowly opening up as well. So we'll see. No, well, this is probably a good result for Lawrence after a bit of struggle in qualifying. Not quite where he expected him to be. He got jumped a bit by Grant Smith and Pottage. Just not quite the pace to really match those two. Pottage is obviously struggling a bit now in this stage of the race, so we'll see how it goes. I think Pottage has a tendency to sort of chew his tyres up quite quickly in a race. He just seems to have a tendency to struggle in these later stages. We'll see how he goes. Still got 5 minutes to go, as we are soon be on lap 32. Once again, we're in a situation where no one's really close enough, as Anderson does seem to be dropping quite a bit of time again to Lila, so not having the best of times out there in his Ferrari right now. I think the aim for him at this point would be just to get the car home in one piece, because he lost a couple of seconds that lap.
Yep. Just have to try to stay ahead of Sebastian Vernier as well.
Yeah, 144 that lap, and most people are saying 141s, 142s at this stage, so must have a little issue again. He's probably trying to push quite hard, which...
Yeah, well, Anderson just did a 44.8, Sebastian Vernier did a 42.7, so Sebastian gained a couple of seconds on Anderson on this last lap. I don't think that's quite fast enough to catch him. Only 4 minutes left in the race, but it's going to be tight if it keeps going like this.
It'd be a question of what did cost Anderson the time. Is it just the car doesn't have the pace in it anymore, or was it a little mistake?
Well, he's halfway around the lap now, and he's already lost 1.6 seconds on his best time.
That car is not healthy, one could say. I mean, visually, the front end doesn't really look intact.
No.
Especially in ACC, doesn't have a more detailed visual damage model, because it'd be a lot easier to tell then what state the car's in. Because imagine for what he had earlier, the front end would be ripped off at the stage, and you'd be trailing around with nothing on the front end. think all these damage is a weird aspect in sim racing, but it's never really fully covered just because licensing and things. Some brands just don't like the idea of their car being destroyed into walls. I don't know why.
Wonder why.
But, you know, maybe at some point we have a sim where you can have that, and you can have your cars properly damaged when you hit a wall or rush a wall or do whatever. It would be nice. You know, it's one of those little things. Yeah, Anderson's 11.5 seconds back to Alila, and Bruni is 8.8. So I don't think it's going to be close enough in the last 2 minutes to really let anything happen, but we will see. Indeed. Of course, again, anything can happen in these last 2 minutes. We'll probably have one more lap. After this depends really where Grant Smith is on the track. He's heading down the hill now towards Crocodile, so there's a possibility of 2 more laps. 2 to 1 more lap.
Gonna be tight.
About 141, 42. So we'll see.
No, I think it'll be
1 more lap after this.
Yeah. I think you're starting the last lap now.
Okay. So yeah, Grant Smith will start his final lap now, and so everyone's.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Thank you, ACC for telling me. I wish more sims had the iRacing white flag, but I guess that's a very American thing. Europe doesn't do the white flag. We just sort of just accept it. So the final lap. Okay, cool. But I think at this point the order is very much going to stay as it is. I don't really see anyone. No one's got any real issues. I think Anderson had enough time. Sebastian to keep it going. But the real question is, can Grant Smith keep it on the road?
Yep, everyone's just gonna keep it on the road at this point, and then we'll finish in the order we are in right now.
So he's up the hill right now. He's got Carla ahead, which still not a lap down. So I think Carla will be safe from the inevitable lap down. Got only a few more corners to go. Ooh, a bit of sideways movement there, Grant. He's just, you know, keeping us on the edge as he's got 1 more corner to go now. As Grant Smith will come home for the first round of Season 5. Grant Smith will take the checkered flag, take victory at Kyalami.
The leader has finished the race.
He's going to quite a big gap to him as the next car coming home will be Tom Bottas, who's managed to held on to P2 after qualifying there. And Lawrence will round out the podium's positions. Thomas Olsen will hold on to P4 in the end as Elia come home P5. Anderson, you know, is mildly damaged Ferrari.
Just a scratch.
Just a scratch. This time he's going to come home P6. Did a good job to keep that car on the road after his little incident. Sebastian comes in P7 after a fairly lonely race. Must be very annoying for him. Seeing up the road, you can see Anderson there. Like, it was a few more minutes, he probably would have got him.
Yeah, just needed a couple more laps.
Format changed to 90-minute races just because of it. Focus time will come home P8 right now in the Lamborghini. The best placed of the Lamborghinis. Out of his team. After his teammate had a incident or spin or something happened. Dalton P89. Not the result they're hoping for, but they probably didn't lose too many positions due to anything else happening in the race. Glenning come home P10 as well on cost P15. Castro P11. He'll cross the line now, hugs the wall.
Yep, then will be Kerbel in P12. Pavel Markov next to cross line in P13. Then we just gotta wait for Adam Carlisle, who's coming out the final corner now. Finish in P14.
And that is round 1 done and dusted. So So yeah, Grant Smith takes the victory. Tom Porches and Marcus Lawrence on the podium. Olsen is P4, Elia P5, Anderson P6, Sebastian Brunier P7, Falkenstein P8, Jolton P9, and Glenning the P10. Retirements include Hyler, Nygaard, Stoffmill, Whitford, and I don't even remember if Webb or Rowley took the start. So yeah, so 19 cars started, 15 cars finished, and that has been round 1. I hope everyone enjoyed that. It's a bit confusing race.
Yeah, a bit of a weird race. A lot of people dropping out for various reasons.
Yeah, I think Hyler's DNF. I think was the most surprising thing. He was dominant all the way until that point, and it's just fuel.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but when you try to optimize your strategy to be the fastest possible, sometimes you make mistakes like that. And I feel like he had a bit too much strict to his target. I think if he possibly pitted a lap earlier, he may have got away with it. But you don't know. Maybe he was hoping to play it that tightly. You never know. I think it's unfortunate for him. He was doing very strong, but hopefully next round he can keep showing his talent and show that he can. He's got race winning ability there. So
Yes. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this race, the first race of the season. If you did, we really appreciate it. You could click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you want to catch the next race. Next week we have the F3 trophy in race room planned. Not quite sure yet what's going to happen with that, because we don't have a lot of signups yet. But we'll see if that still ends up happening. And then in 2 weeks' time, the GT3 Series will return at Spa-Francorchamps.
yeah. And till then, stay safe and all that jazz. And see you then.
Yeah, goodbye.